Hello there. So I was asked by my friend Spencer to try to build a blue deck that could beat Boba Fett. I think he likes playing with the Jedi, like Obi-Wan and Kanan. So Spencer, this one's for you. It took me a while, but I feel like I've finally cracked it. Uh, I've been playing this deck against Boba Fett quite a bit, and it's actually winning about 70% of the time, which might seem nuts because there's some bad cards in here. Uh, but it's pretty fun. So let's show you how it works. The crux of the deck is it's actually a sneak attack deck. Sneak attack is an amazing card. It lets you play a unit from your hand that costs 3 or less. So it's kind of like ramp in that you can play Obi-Wan at 5 resources instead of 6 if you want. And at the start of the group phase, you defeat the unit. So uh, that's pretty powerful. And when I first saw this card, I only thought of Ruthless Raider because I thought I can get 4 damage to base and units plus 4 damage from the Ruthless Raider. It seemed nuts. But it's actually amazing in this deck. Uh, you might think it's bad, and it is bad early in the game, right? Because you're not establishing board presence. But do not resource sneak attack. It is amazing. And we'll get to why in a minute. Your turn 1 play, I actually like 3PO the best for my turn 1 play. If you get a 3PO, clearly we don't have R2 in the deck, we're just guessing 3. We've got a whole bunch of 3s in the deck, uh, and that's phenomenal. Another good option is Chopper, and then you give him a shield, and then Restored Arc is another good option. So we have 9 good options. If we get super unlucky, we might play Leia as our turn 1 play. Restored Arc can be good. They can always ambush in, something like a 7th Fleet Defender to kill it, but that's fine. If they're using their ambush there, we're totally good with that because honestly, the thing we're most terrified about is them ambushing in Steadfast Battalion to kill our Luke right when we deploy him. So if we can get them to use their ambush from Energy Conversion Lab early, that's a win for us. Okay, on 3, uh, make an opening. Still, I think this is an underrated card. I think most people think that this is a bad card, and it can be a bad card. I know I keep building decks with it, but specifically in Boba, there's 3 units that it just kills and heals 2 from your base, right? And the Crafty Smuggler and the 7th Fleet Defender specifically are 2 health units with shields. These are amazing units that are a pain to get rid of, and make an opening just nukes them. So I run 3 of it in the main deck, and if you get a win and your opponent sees you playing a bunch of these, maybe sideboard them out. Funny enough, the Falcon in this matchup is usually just resourced. It's usually not what we're looking for because we're typically trying to establish a presence on the ground. A lot of times that is with Ezra. Ezra is really who we want. We can turn Ezra into a monster with a Jedi lightsaber, and it's risky because they might waylay him. But Ezra is just bait to get ambushed by a Bosk or by a Steadfast Battalion. Uh, the Jedi lightsaber won't get him immune to Steadfast Battalion, but if you have him with a Jedi lightsaber, they actually can't deploy Boba Fett, or Boba Fett will die, right? So they need to draw a waylay or a no good to me dead to deal with that Ezra. So it's high risk, high reward, but you can play the odds of them not having a waylay, and that's amazing. Uh, Fleet Lieutenant is in here partially to bump up 3PO, right? So if you've started with a 3PO, this might be a good turn 2 play to get him to trade with, a Battlefield Marine if you're playing Sabine, for example. I did want to mention too, make an opening is also decent with Chopper, right? So Chopper is normally not phenomenal. In this deck, he's kind of fun. And that little 1 damage from him or from 3PO combos nicely with make an opening to finish off some kills. Okay, from there, we did have Waylay as a one-of here, and then Vanquish as a one-of. Vanquish we're really saving for Fire Spray because it's a bit of a pain to deal with, though we do have a plan later in the game. Okay, at this point, it's worth it to start talking about Sneak Attack. Sneak Attack is awesome on everything that you see right here. You can Sneak Attack Kanan, and he's fairly hard to deal with, right? Even a Bosk ambush won't kill him. And you can make sure you get his attack off, get some healing in. Usually, I'm trying to save it, okay? Usually, I'm trying to get Kanan or Ezra to stick on the field. Chopper, more optional. But if you can get one of the two of them to stick, with a lightsaber or without, that's amazing. Sneak attack can be used on the ghost, right? So when you sneak attack the ghost in, you get to shield Kanan or Ezra. Then it's going to attack because it comes in ready. You get to shield them again. It's going to do 5 damage, so it can probably trade with a ship or just hit base for 5. That's really quite fun and oftentimes worth doing at 5. Another one that can be worth doing is Obi-Wan. I've done that quite a few times. I actually even like waiting to 6 or 7. And once I've deployed Luke, sometimes it's worth it to just play Obi-Wan. But you can actually sneak Obi-Wan in, and then he's ready. So your opponent kind of has to deal with him. Or you can oftentimes get some extra juice in. The only thing that kills Obi-Wan in the Boba Fett deck this early is a Steadfast Battalion with Boba out. Anything else, because of his 6 health, right? Vader can't take him out. So you're going to be able to shield him with Luke. So Obi-Wan is a pretty safe drop in this deck. If Luke doesn't get hit with No Good to Me Dead, Luke Lightsaber is kind of your closer in this deck. You have a couple options, but this is amazing, right? So you're hitting for 7, and you're probably giving Obi-Wan shields every time you do it. Okay. Typically, the game does not end, on the Luke turn. Typically, it ends a few turns later, and typically you're behind in damage, and that's where my favorite play comes in. I'm looking to sneak attack redemption. This is amazing. You get to, for 7 resources, heal 8 damage from your base, or you can split it up. Sometimes I'll heal 4 from Obi-Wan because he got hit by a Boba Fett, and then I'll heal 4 more from my base. It comes into play ready as a 6/9, basically a 6/1 because it has 1 health. Your opponent is not going to want to waylay this. This is a phenomenal answer to the Fire Spray, if you can wait that long, right? So Fire Spray comes out at 6. This comes out at 7, so you might eat it for a few turns if they've ramped. But typically, you're not dead by 7 in this matchup. And this is kind of where the game turns around. Because you're effectively getting rid of Fire Spray, because if they don't trade into you, you'll trade into it. You can also hit base for 6 if they don't have something up in space to kill you. And you've slowed them down enough that now that you're Luke, Obi-Wan shield work is going to happen, and they're going to be dead. Luke unit is another one that's really pretty fun to sneak attack. A lot of times against Boba, they're going to have some sort of answer, right? They're going to Vader him and then hit him with something else, or Vader him and then claim initiative. But again, just like Obi-Wan, Luke has 7 health. So the turn he comes in, they have no answer for that. So if you sneak him in, which you can do on 6, right? Because this makes him 1 cheaper. You typically get to kill something, maybe something really important because of the -3, -3, or -6, -6, and you get to attack for 6 and restore 3, and they can't stop it. So this is at least a 9 damage swing, right, with the 6 and the restore 3. It's probably more like a 12 damage swing uh, because of the when played ability. This sneak attacking and redemption uh, is like a 15 damage swing potentially, right? Because uh, you're sneak attacking in redemption to heal 8, and then they have to attack into it with fire spray. That would be 13, wouldn't it? So pretty amazing, right? When you think about swinging 12 points of damage or 13 points of damage, sometimes it's not that good, right? Sometimes if you heal for 8, they've got a cartel spacer or something like that, a 7th Fleet defender. So you're not actually taking out a Fett's fire spray, um, but it's pretty fun. So that's why you don't resource the sneak attack, even if it's in your opening hand. You hang on to those. You count on 3PO and Ezra to draw you cards. Um, Most of the time, it's going to be a 3-drop. So you can predict if you can play it with Ezra or you can grab it with 3PO. If you get both of them out at the same time, you can attack with Ezra first to see what it is, and then 3PO to draw it. And it's quite fun. It's been surprisingly good. I will say that this deck, while super fun and teched against Boba, I haven't built a sideboard for it yet, but it pretty much gets wrecked by Sabine in its current build. So I think things like maybe Redemption probably has to come out. We're sideboarding it out. Sneak Attack I think can stay because the Sneak Attack Obi-Wan is fine. The Making Openings probably have to come out. Chopper, yeah, he's iffy in that matchup. Um, so there definitely be some sideboarding, uh, but the goal for now was just to beat Boba Fett, and it can do it.